Welcome to part 2 of what I hope to see in MLP Season 5 and beyond. If you haven't taken a look at the first project I made in this series, you can click the link here in the video to check it out. But to quickly summarize, I proposed the idea that Discord had removed Starswirl the Bearded from reality before the Royal Sisters had retrieved the elements of harmony and used them to turn Discord into stone. Becoming a silent witness of Equestria through the many centuries, Starswirl would develop a deep anger against the spirit of chaos who had imprisoned him. And then, when the main six released the rainbow power during the Season 4 finale, it not only restored the ponies of Equestria back to their former selves, but also had the added side effect of releasing Starswirl from his prison, reuniting with the Royal Sisters who never knew what had happened to their old friend, also being introduced to the main six, and particularly Twilight, who would have many adorkable moments meeting her idol face to face. Things would finally be looking up for Starswirl. That is, until he met up with the spirit of chaos who had imprisoned him in the first place. And this is where the story arc of two major characters could begin. Starswirl would be outraged that Discord had been allowed to roam free, and really, who could blame him for feeling that way? Discord would realize that he had forgotten about leaving Starswirl outside of reality, and would have to admit that he never made the effort to go and find him. Of course, this would greatly upset the main six, and especially the Royal Sisters, but the majority of them, and Fluttershy in particular, would still attempt to show Starswirl how different Discord is now from how he used to be. Naturally, Starswirl would reject their claims, stating that Discord would go back to his old ways given the slightest opportunity. The others would try to convince him otherwise, until they realized that they really couldn't refute his reasoning. After all, Discord had betrayed all of Equestria after being given their trust, and on his way back to all his old tricks. Thus, the main six and the Royal Sisters would be caught between these characters, as you really could argue that both sides are in the right and in the wrong. So what sort of episodes could we have where both Discord and Starswirl overcome these challenges? First off, we could have a story where Discord refuses to apologize until Starswirl accepts that Discord really has been reformed. After all, it would be rather difficult to apologize when someone refuses to believe you're telling the truth in the first place. And I can believe that Discord would still have a few of his childish moments in the process. Thus, we could have another episode where Fluttershy is playing the diplomat, encouraging all those involved to put aside their differences in her own special ways. But while she may not be able to make so much progress with Starswirl, seeing that she knows so very little about him, Fluttershy has proven to everyone that Discord really respects her opinion. So with some gentle coaxing and a few callbacks to keep calm and flutter on, Fluttershy would be able to help Discord feel the need to do something. After all, Discord had made Fluttershy's job very difficult for her back then, and she still managed to reach him where it mattered most. Discord would finally be willing to apologize, and at first, Fluttershy would be overjoyed to see him taking that step. Until she begins to realize that Discord's intentions aren't about making amends with Starswirl, but rather just to make Fluttershy happy. A step in the right direction for sure, but not enough to show Starswirl that Discord's reformation is genuine. I can imagine this would be a very difficult trial for Discord. Becoming both humble and teachable when others around you refuse to give in can be an immense burden, but I believe the MLP staff could make this into a memorable moment for Discord, giving a very relatable depth to his character. They could present this change without taking away anything that makes Discord so likable, while also moving one step further in his character arc. On the other side of the spectrum, we have Starswirl's conflict, and the MLP staff could easily devote multiple episodes to his story arc. They could delve into his origin story, showing the parts he played in the founding of Equestria. They could show some of the events he witnessed over the centuries. They could even introduce Scorpan into the series, since he was befriended by Starswirl in times past. After all, if T-Rex is still alive after all these centuries, then why not his brother too? But the ideas I have would focus more on the interactions between Starswirl and Twilight, because if there was anything that could bring many more adorkable moments from Twilight, it would be meeting her idol face to face. And I'm sure the community would love seeing some fan squeals from the Princess of Friendship, somewhat similar to how Rainbow Dash reacted when meeting Daring Do for the first time. However, there would be a great difference in how this would play out. In Daring Don't, Rainbow Dash's idol was everything she expected, and she went through a conflict of not measuring up. With this story, Twilight's idol wouldn't be everything she expected, and she would go through a conflict of learning how to react when someone you looked up to was not everything you hoped they would be. I'm sure that Starswirl had been an inspiring example during his prime, but all those centuries of solitary confinement would have wreaked havoc on his social skills, leaving him bitter and not so quick to trust others again. So Twilight could go through a similar situation like she did with the Princess of the Night during Luna Eclipsed. But again, this would be a fair bit different because Twilight would inevitably want to learn about magic from the pony she studied so intently in her books. And I'm sure there would be a great deal that Starswirl could teach Twilight. But since Starswirl the Bearded had never mastered his final spell because he did not understand the magic of friendship, then who better to be his teacher than the Princess of Friendship? And if Starswirl is still having trouble forgiving Discord and believing in his reformation, then we could also get another dream episode from Luna. After all, she too had been imprisoned for 1,000 years, and still felt the bitterness against her sister even after all that time. Luna had to be humbled. She had to learn about forgiveness. And she, along with Twilight, could do much to help Starswirl learn the same. Now, this wouldn't be something you could tackle over the course of one episode or even a couple episodes. This is something that would need to be an overarching storyline for an entire season. After all, Twilight didn't become friends with Discord right after his reformation either. It took until the end of Season 4. After dealing with Discord's antics for multiple episodes, Twilight finally had her moment when she genuinely considered him to be a friend. And thus, over the course of multiple episodes throughout a future season, we could see the same thing happening between Discord and Starswirl. Ancient enemies overcoming their inner conflicts and learning to let go of past hatreds. I, for one, would love seeing these kind of life lessons in MLP, and I know it would add a lot more depth to these characters. But what do you think? Would you like to see an episode where Discord learns more about humility from the element of kindness herself? Do you think there is potential with having Starswirl become both the mentor and the student to Twilight Sparkle, and possibly even Princess Luna? Do you have any ideas on future episodes with these characters? I would like to hear your thoughts on these concepts. I don't know if anyone has ever attempted to put these ideas into a fan fiction, but with all the possibilities that could come from them, I would honestly love to see someone try. Let me know. And as always, I am DRWolf, and I look forward to hearing from you.